You know that moment when you might be sitting in class, or maybe when you're working at your desk in the office and, well, you're falling asleep. There is nothing you can do about it. As much as you'd like to try and stay awake, focusing on your teacher's voice, pinching your skin or straight up smashing your head on the wooden desk, you already reached the point of no return. The point where nothing has the power to pull you away from the unbreakable embrace of Morpheus. Although I'm sure that most of you have lived through such a situation. I mean, I did, many times. You're still probably lucky enough to not live through it every single day of your existence in this pitiful world. Unfortunately, that is not the case for Ganta Nakami, a high schooler that suffers from a very debilitating form of insomnia that forces him to stay wide awake during the night and fall into golden slumbers as soon as the sun starts to rise up on the horizon. The lack of sleep inevitably makes him very prone to stress and anger outbursts, as well as continuously trying to find the chance to get some sleep, even at school. One day, after getting into an argument with a classmate during the preparations for the school festival, he gets sent to collect some boxes that are stored in the old and unused school observatory that is supposed to be haunted by the ghost of a girl that supposedly killed herself after getting rejected by her love interest. Once he reached his destination, Ganta decides to take a better look at the observatory that with its calm and warm environment might just make the perfect place to take a nap during the day when his insomnia attacks strike. And well, he decides to lay down for a bit. Ganta, with his skeptical and slightly nihilistic behavior, is not exactly the type that would believe in ghost stories. But when he randomly finds a girl laying lifeless in a locker on the floor, his heart probably skips a beat or two. After a quick explanation though, the misunderstanding between the two gets cleared. The girl that Ganta briefly mistook for the observatory ghost is actually his classmate, Isaki Magari, that happens to suffer from his exact same condition, and that also happened to be the one that actually spread the story about the ghost girl in order to scare off anyone that could potentially stop her from using the observatory as her bedroom. Their encounter and the sharing of their common problem leads the two to bond with each other very quickly. Thus they decide to secretly use the observatory as their personal bedroom. They start to bring furniture and give it their best to make it seem as homey as they can. Their lone school days, filled with continuous battles to stay awake and hide their shared problem away from others, are now a lot more bearable thanks to their shelter. Unfortunately though, this small earthly paradise of theirs doesn't last as long as they hoped for. A teacher accidentally finds out about what the two of them were doing while chasing a cat that stole a piece of salad from her sandwich. So, does it end like this? Is their little paradise taken away from them? Well, not really, because under the advice of their teacher, they get the opportunity to keep staying at the observatory under one condition, which is that they're gonna revive the astronomy club. From this point forward, they're gonna have to learn all the basics of astronomy, and especially how to take pictures of the night sky in order to participate at a contest that will prove their club's worth and provide them with funds from the school. In order to accomplish this, they're gonna get help from an alumni of their school that used to run the club all by herself, managing to also win an astronomy photography contest. This is the general premise of the story, but what actually makes this series such a especially for all of you slice of life addicts out there, is its laid-back and relaxed atmosphere, with an incredibly delicate and cute romance story between Ganta and Magari. Their supposedly conflicting personalities bounce off each other in a very entertaining way. Ganta is a somewhat shy and reserved guy that is constantly frustrated because of his condition. This leads him to be perceived as a very unapproachable and grumpy guy, as stated by Magari herself. That, on the other hand, although also suffering from insomnia, manages to be a very sociable and active girl that has many friends and is generally quite liked by others. They spend their days dozing off while fighting to stay awake and then taking long naps at the observatory, while their night times are full of adventure. Long strolls under the night starry sky never really looked as beautiful and interesting to the two of them as it does now when they look at it together. What then truly elevates this anime series is the art style and animation. Studio Liden Films already proved itself with the night setting in the absolute masterpiece of an adaptation that was Call of the Night. And although the night sky doesn't really look as exaggeratedly good in Insomniacs After School as it did in Call of the Night, they still managed to get the atmosphere just right. A honorable mention goes to the fat cat that shares the observatory with Ganta and Magari, and that also happens to become an official member of the club.